I highlighted to the Vice President that there was a significant amount of concern amongst Canadians on the new anti-choice laws being passed in a number of American states, and highlighted that Canadians, and indeed this government, will always be a staunch defender of women's rights and a woman's right to choose. It was a cordial conversation, but it is one on which we have very different perspectives.
But let me be clear, I'm very proud to be part of a pro-life administration, and our administration has taken steps to stand for the sanctity of life at home and abroad.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said he would bring up the recent attempts in the United States to restrict access to abortion in some states. And as you heard, he did. We're back with the Power Panel. Marcella Monroe, Melissa Lantsman, Christine McMillan, and Mia Robson. The Prime Minister had said yesterday that he would bring it up in the meeting. And as we mentioned, he did. What do you make, Christine, of what they said coming out of the meeting on it?
Well, I, for one, am glad the Prime Minister brought it up. I think he's got a track record of bringing up difficult conversations with world leaders, and I think it's important that he raised it. I mean, they were obviously cordial about it. They're not on the same side, but I think it's important that the Prime Minister is raising it and making sure that.
Why? Why is it important?
Well, it's important. It's such an important issue, right? As we watch this backslide in the U.S., you know, it's personally, I'm fearful that we start to see the same type of thing here in Canada. I mean, conservative politicians are taking positions of power across the country, and I think, you know, whenever there's an opening on the debate, they seem to sort of jump in. They say often you hear.
How so? Like, are they pledging to change the laws at all?
Well, you hear conservative leaders often say things along the lines of, you know, I won't reopen this debate. They always, I think everyone in my recent memory I can think of saying that. But then you look to members of their caucus, for example, in Ontario, we have Sam Oosterhoff from the Niagara region, who doesn't even have a hidden agenda about it. He has a very public agenda saying what he thinks that women, you know, shouldn't have that right. You shouldn't have that right to choose. So I think it's important that the Prime Minister raises it.
How problematic for the Conservatives, Melissa, is this?
I don't think it's problematic at all, because I don't think it's a debate here. And no matter how many times the Prime Minister brings it up with vice presidents of different countries, it's still not a debate in Canada, because, you know, Mr. Scheer was clear on it. He wasn't going to open up the debate. It's not a debate. And frankly, these things are addressed in the U.S. or discussed in the U.S. all the time, and they don't come to Canada.
What about Christine's point that the leadership of the party, for example, will say, we're not reopening the debate, we're not going to legislate on this, but then you see certain MPs or MPPs who are very vocal about their position.
And I actually respect those people's views on the issue of being pro-life. But at the end of the day, it's about what we legislate in this country and what we talk about, and that comes from the leader and that comes from the government agenda. So this isn't a debate, no matter how much we want to make it one on this TV show.
Marcella, fair point.
No, it is a debate. It's a debate because there are very well-funded and well-organized organizations in this country, similar and related to the organizations in the United States, who are adamantly against a woman's right to choice when it comes to their reproductive freedom, and that those people have been active and aggressively helping to get people nominated in conservative parties across this country to run and be successful. Now, it's fine. I also agree that people are allowed to have any opinion they want. I'm frankly glad that we are now getting to know more of the people in the conservative parties that are against a woman's right to choose, so that the electorate can act accordingly. But these rights are not written in stone. And these conservative politicians that are going to take those views, they can't. It's not just good enough to say to us, "It's not. I'm not going to bring it up." It's not. It's
Does
not
that mean
sustainable.
You can't elect people with those views?
No, it means Canadians have a right to know, like they do about many of the issues that our politicians take a stand on, what those people's views are. If they want to elect them, that's fine. Those people have a right to sit in Parliament. They have a right to march in their anti-choice rallies. But what they don't have a right to do is to tell us this isn't a debate and to tell Canadian women that they shouldn't be concerned when more of these people are getting elected and when this movement is very aggressively pushing, again, not just south of the border, but north of the border.
Mia, let's try to take some of the partisanship out of this, but just from from our perspective, we are watching, regardless of whether it's on this TV show or not. It's also in Parliament. We saw, for example, and I'll play the clip in a second, but a Bloc MP basically asked for unanimous consent on a motion about abortion. Actually, I'll play that right now, and then we'll talk about it.
That the House of Commons reiterates that a woman's body belongs to her and to her alone, and recognize her right to choose an abortion regardless of the reason.
So there was some traction on that. We know that that Andrew Scheer's been asked about it recently. He said the exact same thing that Christine mentioned. I'm not going to legislate on this. I'm not reopening the debate. But we also know that that there are questions about a number of MPs who appeared at, for example, the March for Life. And then we've got scenes like this, which I imagine will continue to play out.
Absolutely. I mean, the government does see this as something that's playing well for them domestically. And I will say, just sort of from my own views on what's happening in the United States and what I see from my friends, my family, this is something they're talking about as well. Whether or not they're concerned it's going to happen in Canada, they are talking about what's happening in the United States. So it is an issue that people are, it's on their mind. They are concerned about it. And that is something that the Liberals are definitely trying to play into. The motion yesterday came in from a Bloc MP. The Liberals were thrilled, of course, to be able to stand up. It was a lengthy ovation. They can sort of say, and look, the Conservatives didn't even stand up to applaud for this. So clearly they have a hidden agenda. It's something that the Liberals have worked very hard to, and it's an issue that they think they have some traction on. When it comes to Andrew Scheer, he's been clear, even when he was elected as a leader, people said, well, you kind of won that leadership with the social conservative candidates throwing their support to you. What are you going to do about that? Are you going to have to give in on any of these issues? And he's been pretty clear from that point forward. Not an issue that he thinks is going to be reopened under his watch as Prime Minister. The Liberals aren't going to stop saying that they don't necessarily believe that.
Do you think this is partly strategy, Christine?
No, I don't think so. I think this issue is too important, and I think that Americans probably didn't think a year ago that they'd be where they are either, watching all these states start to backslide on women's rights. So I think it's important to raise it, and I think Canadians deserve to know where people stand on something this important.
Melissa, what do you think?
Look, I think that Andrew Scheer has been clear. He's not going to reopen the debate. I've been in the Conservative Party as a pro-choice woman my entire life, and I've never been afraid of this debate coming to Parliament, because at the end of the day, the leader makes decisions about the government agenda. And if this wasn't posturing, then Justin Trudeau would have brought up the death penalty, because they have that in Alabama too. But that wasn't the case. This is a complete play for a domestic audience, and it's fear-mongering on an issue that doesn't exist as legislation by a potential government in October.
Marcella, last word to you.
Well, there's a history of great pro-choice women in the Conservative Party, and I hope more of them, like Melissa, will continue to speak out. But I think that this is something that we still have to keep on mind. It's an issue that I've been concerned about since I was a teenager, and I'd be happy to go back to being more concerned about it if the situation changes in Canada.
Okay, I got to take another commercial break, but we're back with a final round of the Power Panel right after this.